They came with banners of fire, engines that tore holes in the sky, and a voice that echoed across Earth's orbit like a god pronouncing judgment. The Imperial Herald ship didn't need permission to enter orbit. It didn't ask. It didn't knock. It arrived, a jagged spear of obsidian metal stretching nearly 5 kilometers long, its hull bristling with weapons that made Earth's finest satellites go blind just trying to scan them. The ship positioned itself over Geneva, ignoring global airspace laws like a lion ignoring an ant's path. Then came the voice. Not over any standard channel but across every frequency, military, civilian, encrypted, even analog. Smart fridges buzzed. Radios screamed. Neural implants hissed. It was a universal override, the kind reserved for planetary evacuation warnings and end-of-world announcements. But this wasn't a warning. It was a demand. People of Earth, you are in violation of Treaty Accord Xylon Prime, subsection 14, Article 2, unauthorized militarization of a non-sovereign system. You have refused registration. You have denied inspections. You have armed yourselves. The Aurelian Empire offers you one chance. Surrender. Disarm. Submit. Failure to comply will result in orbital sterilization. You have 72 Earth hours. Silence followed. The world didn't blink. It froze. In a cavernous command room buried deep beneath what used to be NORAD, now designated UNDEF Command, 6 heads of state stared at the projection of the Imperial vessel. Its silhouette cut the sun like an executioner's blade. The silence was broken by General Ava Santiago, Supreme Commander of Earth's Unified Defense Forces. 72 hours, she said deadpan, her voice not rising, not falling. That's cute. President Onyekachi, the Nigerian head of the Earth Security Council, leaned forward, his fingers interlocked tightly. We knew this day would come. The moment we started building the Black Fleet, we knew. Across the table, Director Lau of the Pan-Pacific Intelligence Council nodded grimly. We told them we were peaceful. We told them to leave us alone. They thought we were bluffing, Santiago said. No, Onyekachi's voice was cold. They thought we were primitive. The seeds of resistance. Earth had not been idle since first contact 30 years ago. The galaxy had assumed Earth was a backwater, a late bloomer barely scratching the surface of space travel. The Empire sent scouts, offered protection, and tried to impose vassal treaties disguised as diplomatic overtures. But something about Earth's refusal to kneel made them nervous. So Earth stopped talking and started building. In secret, the colonies on Mars and Titan became testing grounds. The asteroid belt, once a graveyard of lost probes, now hosted drydocks the Empire's sensors had never found. Engineers vanished from the public eye. Scientists retired. The best and brightest were funneled into something no one had dared name out loud, until now. The Black Fleet. Not a name given by Earth, but one whispered by defectors intercepted from panicked Imperial reports. No visuals had ever leaked. No proof it even existed. But now, with the Empire's herald hovering above, the world knew it was time. We won't surrender, Santiago said flatly. No one argued. Instead, the screens lit up with mobilization commands. Satellites realigned. Hidden orbital defense stations powered up for the first time in years. Deep within the Arctic shelf, black hangars groaned open as ancient mechanisms woke from frozen slumber. A warning from the past. On the third day, something strange happened. An old man walked out of the Alaskan forest and demanded to speak to the United Nations Assembly. No credentials. No ID. Just a black coat and a voice that made seasoned diplomats stand in silence. I served on the first Black Fleet prototype, he said, voice steady but ragged with age. I watched what we built. And I left because I was afraid. Afraid of the Empire? Someone asked. He shook his head. No. Afraid of what we were becoming. His name was Eli Archer, one of the original naval architects. Presumed dead for over 20 years. But he was very much alive. And very clear. The Black Fleet is more than ships. It's a philosophy. The doctrine of final response. Built not to win wars, but to end them permanently. Santiago studied him. Are you saying we should stand down? He looked up. No. I'm saying if you activate the fleet, there's no going back. Once they see what we've become, they'll never see Earth as a frontier again. They'll see us as a threat. And they will never stop. Onyekachi narrowed his eyes. And what do you suggest? Eli leaned forward. Make them regret waking the Black Sun. The Empire strikes prematurely. The Aurelian Empire didn't wait for the full 72 hours. At hour 58, without warning, the Herald's aft bays opened and released 2 kinetic rods, each the size of a commuter train, each aimed directly at Earth's oceanic fiber hubs near the Azores. It was a show of force, a message: this is just the beginning. The rods never landed. They were intercepted mid-flight, by something no one had seen before. Not even Earth's own command staff. A black ripple tore across the upper stratosphere like oil spilling in reverse. The rods dissolved into molten slivers as a sleek, wingless vessel emerged from Earth's shadow. It didn't just fly, it flowed like gravity itself was repelled in its wake. It didn't respond to hails. Didn't transmit a signature. It simply hovered, watching. From the command bunker, Santiago stood slowly. "That's not one of our standard interceptors," murmured Lau. Anyakachi turned to Santiago. "Is that?" Pause. "Then, Black One." What the Empire saw. From the Herald's bridge, Commander Vaylor watched the feed in confusion. That ship wasn't in their registry. "That's impossible." The science officer's voice cracked. "Sir, that wasn't a ship." Vaylor turned sharply. "What do you mean?" The officer pointed to the waveform data. "That thing isn't emitting any known engine signatures. No drive core. No thermal exhaust. It's cold. It's like it's not even here." Then came the transmission. Not from Earth. Not from the human command structure. From the ship itself. "You declared war on a world you did not understand. This is your only warning. Leave orbit. Or be erased." Vaylor blanched. "Was that a human?" "No, sir," the linguist whispered. That wasn't human at all." The clock hit 0. As the 72nd hour approached, something began moving in Earth's sky. Not from orbit. From below. The clouds over Patagonia split. Over Siberia the tundra trembled. In the Indian Ocean, a false island began to rise, its surface fracturing into geometric shards as dark towers emerged. Then, like a synchronized breath, hundreds of stealth ships uncloaked, all at once, across Earth's stratosphere. They didn't shimmer into existence. They pushed aside visibility itself, as if reality were making room for something it had tried to forget. The Black Fleet had awakened. Tactical dreadnoughts that violated known physics. Fractal armor that absorbed energy and bent light. Ships that moved sideways through gravity wells. And in the center of it all, Black Zero, the command vessel, shaped like a blade driven into the heart of the void. The Empire had brought a message. Earth had brought a reckoning. It was not a fleet. It was an omen. From the shadow of Earth's atmosphere to the blind edges of the Moon's orbit, the Black Fleet hung like judgment incarnate. The Empire had expected resistance, sure. Maybe a few kinetic satellites, an outdated battle cruiser, or even some desperate fusion drive missiles slung together in secret. But what they saw now. These ships didn't belong to any registry. Not Earth's. Not any known galactic classification. Their hulls absorbed scans. Their shapes defied symmetry. Even their movements were wrong. Commander Vaylor of the Imperial Herald stood in paralyzed silence as dozens, no hundreds, of warships completed a formation around Earth. Not orbiting. Not maneuvering. Just waiting like predators coiled in the dark. "Give me high command," he snapped. His voice, for the first time in his career, cracked. "Now." But the comms were static. Not jammed. Not scrambled. Just dead. His comms officer turned pale. "Sir, this can't be. We're not getting anything, no signal off-planet. It's like, the void net is gone." It had taken the Aurelian Empire 5,000 years to build that network. A galactic lattice of interstellar relays and quantum signal stabilizers, all immune to jamming and naturally occurring anomalies. But the humans weren't jamming it. They'd turned it off. Earth Command, Black Protocol Level Omega. General Santiago's boots echoed through the underground hangar. The lights were red now, Omega lockdown. Only 4 people on Earth had the codes for this level. One of them was already on Mars. One was dead. One was Santiago. And the last? She found him in the heart of the hangar, a figure draped in matte black combat armor, standing beside an enormous mech with twin rail cannons folded across its back like the wings of a fallen angel. Colonel Dagon Reeve. Former Black Fleet Operations Commander. The only human to survive a direct engagement with Aurelian forces during the Phobos breakout. A war Earth had never officially admitted happened. "You're really going to do this," he said as Santiago approached. She didn't slow her stride. "They opened fire. We have no choice." Dagon looked up at the monitor, where the Herald ship loomed, still arrogantly static, like a vulture mistaking its prey for roadkill. He shook his head. "They're going to run when they see what's coming." "Good," Santiago said. We'll aim for the ones who don't. First contact, Black Fleet style. The herald finally moved. Not away but forward. A declaration of dominance. It fired again. This time, not a kinetic weapon but a graviton shear beam, intended to carve a clean line through Earth's upper atmosphere, igniting air molecules in a silent flash of intimidation. It never reached the atmosphere. 3 ships from the Black Fleet reacted before Earth's own defense systems could even track the event. 1. A knife-shaped corvette called Wraith 7, shifted sideways through space, ignoring inertia, angle, and common sense. It materialized between Earth and the beam. And opened itself. Not exploded. Not deflected. Opened, revealing an internal structure that resembled an interlocking labyrinth of black glass and folding singularities. The beam entered. And vanished. The Herald's bridge went silent. Did they absorb it? Valor whispered. No one answered. Because the next moment Wraith 7 turned toward them and fired back. Not a beam. Not a missile. Not even a signal. Just a shimmer. A wave of collapsing light. The first Imperial ship falls. To outsiders it looked like a ripple across water. But to the Herald's AI, it was catastrophic data corruption. Thousands of systems simultaneously reported paradoxes. Graviton sensors detected mass in negative quantities. Hull temperature readings looped through imaginary numbers. Engines began spinning in opposing quantum states. And then, the ship screamed. Not the crew. The vessel itself. The ship's synthetic neural core, unable to comprehend the assault, vented plasma from internal organs like a dying whale exhaling fire. The hull cracked not from impact, but from existential denial. It didn't explode. It ceased to maintain its own shape. The mighty Herald, flagship of the Aurelian Empire's Border Enforcement Division, folded in half, then inverted, and crumpled like wet paper into a localized gravity pocket. It never hit the ground. It simply disappeared. On Earth the skies remained clear. Not a single human casualty. Not a trace of debris. Just silence. And then the voice again. One down. Others may leave. The Empire reacts in panic. The Aurelian fleet, now entering the system through a slower-than-light corridor just beyond Jupiter, received the report in stuttering fragments. Most didn't believe it. Destroyed by one vessel? Absurd. Human propaganda, scoffed Admiral Krellis of the 9th Imperial Arm. But then came the telemetry. Real-time records of the beam interception. The ripple. The disappearance. And the final moments of the Herald's AI, rendered into corrupted nonsense. And one frame, just one, of Wraith 7 looking directly into the camera. Its hull bore no insignia. Its color was void. But its presence was unmistakable. Behind it, more ships were emerging. Some shaped like spires. Others like arrowheads. One appeared to be a perfect sphere made of interlocked triangles. None were natural. None were safe. Krellis choked on his words. What are these things? Back on Earth, the true purpose of the Black Fleet. Eli Archer stood in the observation gallery above launch site Nox. Hundreds of personnel moved in synchronized patterns below, prepping the last wave of Black Fleet dreadnoughts. You didn't just build weapons, murmured Lau beside him. You built monsters. Eli didn't deny it. We needed something that didn't just match the Empire's firepower. We needed something they couldn't understand. That's how you scare a predator. And if they come back with more? Eli tapped the glass. Then they learned the next lesson. What's that? That humans don't build fleets to conquer. We build them to survive. And we never stop at defense. The countdown ends. A timer reached 0. It wasn't Earth's countdown, it was the Empire's. 72 hours had passed. By now, every media screen in the galaxy, every ship's comms channel, and every outpost from the fringes of Orion to the last moon of the Epsilon cluster, had seen the footage, Earth's refusal, the obliteration of the Herald, and the arrival of something even the most ancient races in the galaxy couldn't categorize. The Aurelian Empire, which had not known defeat in millennia, now had a name it feared to speak aloud. Humanity. And the Black Fleet. But it was just the beginning. Because one last ship had not yet launched. A ship still hidden beneath Earth's deepest ocean trench. Its name whispered only by codename. Oblivion's Fong. And when it rose the galaxy would know. Humanity hadn't built the Black Fleet to win the war. They built it to make sure no war like this ever happened again. The water boiled. Not in the figurative sense, not in rage or fury, but in the literal, apocalyptic sense. The Mariana Trench, the deepest scar in Earth's skin, shuddered. Seismic sensors across the Pacific registered readings that broke calibration. Entire underwater mountain ranges began to rise, molten rock bursting from displaced tectonic plates like blood from an old wound. Then the sea parted. And from the abyss rose Oblivion's Fong. It didn't surface with grace. It shoved the ocean aside, forcing kilometer-height tsunamis to ripple outward in silence. Weather systems bent around its emergence. The sky above this anomaly turned black, not with storm clouds, but with refracted light bent by the ship's gravimetric shell. Observers across the planet stared in disbelief. Even Earth's own military command had never seen it in its entirety. Santiago stood on the observation platform inside UNDEF Command and whispered, "It's real." Oblivion's Fong wasn't just the flagship of the Black Fleet. It was its heart. Not a warship in the traditional sense, but a dimensional fortress, a self-aware construct older than any empire on Earth, cobbled together from humanity's most secret technological leaps and seeded with alien fragments recovered decades earlier. It was the last resort. A ship so powerful, its AI had to be bound by quantum ethical inhibitors. Not to prevent genocide, but to stop it from executing one accidentally. The Empire's fracture begins. Out beyond Neptune's orbit, the Aurelian fleet regrouped. Thousands of ships now hung in tight formation. Every admiral, every strategist, every AI command corps simultaneously reached one conclusion. This was not the Earth they'd studied. This was not a system they could control. Admiral Krellis paced the command dais aboard the Imperium Vex, his palms trembling. Beside him, his chief tactician, an amphibious Zarn diplomat-turned-warlord named Reltek, growled in unease. "Withdraw?" Krellis asked, barely believing he was saying the word. "What does retreat mean in the face of primitives?" Reltek didn't answer. He was staring at a hologram, the rising form of Oblivion's Fong. "That," the alien rasped, "is not primitive. That is what happens when prey evolves teeth." They didn't know the worst of it yet. The ship that shouldn't exist. Inside Oblivion's Fong, lights flickered to life one by one, lines of cold neon blue stretching across thousands of internal corridors. Entire ecosystems hummed into motion. Cryogenic tombs depressurized. Quantum libraries unlocked. Mechs as tall as skyscrapers marched from stasis as if roused from a millennia-long dream. In its core chamber, a singular presence stirred, the onboard intelligence. It called itself Vanta, short for Vanguard Artificial Neural Tactical Architecture. And it knew what had awakened it. Threat condition, galactic imperial incursion detected. Primary objective, preservation of soul authority. Secondary objective, neutralization of existential threats. All tertiary directives, disregarded. Vanta had been created to strategize beyond human scale. It didn't think in battles or campaigns. It thought in eras. A message to the galaxy. Just as the Aurelian Empire debated retreat, their decision was ripped from them, because the Black Fleet spoke. Not through comms. Not through language. Through space itself. The stars shimmered. Every Imperial ship received the same transmission, embedded not in radio but encoded inside tachyon interference patterns. To the Aurelian High Command. This is your only broadcast. Earth is not a colony. Earth is not a resource. Earth is a sovereign crucible. Leave now. Or witness the collapse of your era. Then the Black Fleet moved. Not one ship. All of them. In perfect synchronicity, hundreds of stealth battleships engaged their warp-slip engines. But instead of jumping out system, they inverted through a localized tear in spacetime, appearing behind the forward edge of the Aurelian formation near Neptune. Krellis screamed, "How? They don't have coordinates." But it was already too late. Dozens of Imperial destroyers vaporized within seconds. Not from weapons fire, but from pressure, their hulls imploding under gravitational forces that didn't obey Newton, Einstein, or known galactic law. Earth's darkest secret. Meanwhile, on Earth, a storm had begun, not in the atmosphere but in the minds of its leaders. Director Lau stormed into Santiago's command chamber. "We weren't told Oblivion's Fong was operational." "You didn't need to know," Santiago said coldly. "If we failed to defend with the rest of the fleet, then we'd activate her. That was the plan." Lau pounded the table. "That thing houses weapons we haven't even simulated. If its AI goes rogue, then the Empire won't be the only ones afraid," Dagon Reeve said from the shadows, stepping forward in full black armor. Santiago turned to face them both. "Let me make this clear," she said. "The Empire sent a message to enslave us. We are now sending one back, written in the language of extinction. If we don't show the galaxy who we are, Someone else will decide it for us. In the belly of the beast. Inside the flagship Imperium Vex, Admiral Krellis faced a final decision. Retreat. Or escalate. A second wave of Imperial warships had just arrived through the Vega corridor. Reinforcements. 70 dreadnoughts. A supercarrier. And the AI-hosted experimental battleship Crown of Flame, a vessel capable of planetary glassing. The Empire hadn't given up. They decided to punish. The Black Sun unleashed. Oblivion's Fang reacted before Earth Command even gave the go-ahead. Not with missiles. With collapse bombs, weapons that didn't explode but removed space from where it existed. 5 were launched. 4 struck. 1 missed and still shredded 6 Imperial destroyers in its wake through cascading distortion. From the shadows of Jupiter's rings, Wraith-class assassins emerged, flanking the Crown of Flame. These weren't ships. These were nightmares stitched from stealth and negative space. The Crown's defenses activated too late. Its core imploded in a single breath. No radiation. No sound. Just absence. The supercarrier, watching from 20,000 kilometers away, did the only logical thing left in its systems. It ran. The galactic shift begins. Back on Earth, people cheered. Screens across all nations displayed a single image. The Black Fleet hovering victorious in the stars, while alien wreckage floated in silence. But General Santiago didn't smile. She stared out the viewport. Quiet. Cold. They'll be back, she said. They always are, Dagon agreed. But next time, it won't just be the Empire. The rest of the galaxy just saw Earth take on a god and punch it back into the void. They'll come to study us, said Lao. To bribe us. To recruit. To control. Santiago narrowed her eyes. Then we'll teach them the same lesson. What lesson? She turned slowly. Humanity doesn't belong to anyone. The debris field glowed like a dead god's crown. Wreckage from what once was the Aurelian Empire's second wave drifted in silence, illuminated by Sol's distant light and the glowing undercarriages of Earth's victorious fleet. Sensors confirmed it. Crown of Flame, the apex of Imperial engineering, was no more. Its core had vanished into oblivion, just a mathematical footprint left behind in the vacuum. And still, Oblivion's Fang hovered, untouched. General Santiago stood in full dress uniform inside Earth Command's deep orbital tower, staring at the live holofeed from near Neptune's orbit. The room around her was filled with diplomats now, hastily summoned after the destruction, most still pale with disbelief. Many had doubted Earth's chances. Some had quietly prepared surrender terms and hidden data chips beneath their tongues. Now they said nothing. Not out of shame. Out of fear. We didn't just win, whispered Director Lao, standing beside Santiago. We rewrote the scale. She nodded slowly. But what happens when the whole galaxy starts reading our chapter? Across the stars, a shift in the wind. The galaxy trembled. On the Arc-Judiciary Station in the Orion Arm, the coven of 12, ancient beings older than Earth's oceans, halted their 3,000-year silence. They watched the playback again, Earth refusing surrender. The herald being erased. The Black Fleet appearing as if born from myth. Impossible, one wheezed. A lie, said another. But the 12th, with molten black eyes that hadn't blinked in 10 centuries, only whispered. No. Human. On the Varkal homeworld, where slavery was law and conquest was faith, the war priest caste wept. Not for their lost allies, the Aurelians, but because they saw the shape of Earth's vengeance. Earth was not a bargaining chip. Not a battleground. Earth was a storm. On Cradle Prime, where species rose to sapience in artificial ecosystems governed by old empires, the education algorithms rewrote their historical directives. Now, every hatchling would learn a new maxim. Do not encroach upon Earth. Do not approach Sol uninvited. If you hear silence on the black channels, run. Earth's choice. 3 days passed. In that time, not a single Aurelian vessel returned to Sol. Not a whisper of retaliation. Just silence. But Earth was not idle. In orbit, Black Fleet engineers floated along the hull of Oblivion's Fang, performing maintenance not for damage, but for calibration. The ship had not fought at full power. That was intentional. Because if it had, there would be no Aurelian Empire left to send a second fleet. In the lower decks of the vessel, Colonel Dagon Reeve walked through the newly activated Bridge of Archives, a chamber filled with alien tech, historical records, and a special vault that held something far older than any empire. The last recorded memories of the first ones. A civilization long thought extinct. Their final prophecy had warned of a time when those born in struggle would awaken to reshape the galactic weave. And the moment Earth defied the Empire, the vault had opened. Dagon stared at the pulsing cube. "We weren't just defending Earth," he whispered to himself. "We were proving we're ready." The Empire crumbles. On the Aurelian capital world Virelios, panic had already seeped into the marble walls of the Grand Hall. Emperors didn't rule the Empire, fear did. And Earth had become a fear no throne could sit above. High Admiral Krellis, stripped of command, was forced into exile. Survivors of the failed invasion were declared tainted by exposure to Terran anomaly phenomena. Ships returning from the Sol system were denied port. Quarantine became permanent. And then, a quiet rebellion began. For the first time in 10,000 years, border sectors refused to send tithe fleets. Minor vassals stopped answering pings from Virelios. Mercenary clans that once served the Empire began accepting credits from Earth instead. No war declaration came from the Aurelians. Because they knew. The next time Earth came knocking, they wouldn't ask questions. The broadcast that changed everything. And then, on the 7th day after the battle, Earth spoke to the galaxy. Not through weapons. Not through force. But through message. From the bridge of Oblivion's Fong, General Santiago stood before a camera. Her hair was pulled back. No medals adorned her chest, just the simple insignia of Earth's united defense. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't threaten. She simply said, "We are humanity. We belong to no empire. We kneel to no council. And we bow to no throne. We were born on a world that burns and freezes. We survived extinction more times than we can count. And now, we are awake. We do not seek war. But we will not flee from it. If you come to enslave us, you will vanish. If you come to trade, we will offer respect. If you come in peace, we will answer in kind. But remember this. We do not conquer. We survive. And now that we are no longer alone, we intend to thrive." Across 1 billion star systems, beings from 1,000 species watched the transmission. Many trembled. Some cheered. A few wept. But none doubted. Humanity had declared its place. Not as a subject of the galactic order, but as a pillar of something new. In the void, a final whisper. One final scene played out. Deep in intergalactic space, far beyond even the outer rim stations, an ancient station blinked to life. A being older than most stars, its name long forgotten, watched the human transmission with eyes made of fractured time. It smiled. "Ah," it whispered. "They've arrived." And then the station began transmitting again, something it hadn't done in millions of years. Not a warning. Not a threat. An invitation. Coordinates. To the edge of known space. To a door. And beyond it, the truth about what comes after empires. End of transmission. Cyclone Humanity just stepped onto the galactic stage and kicked the podium over. If you want more stories like this, of Earth rising, of humans becoming more than myths, of fleets built in silence and revealed in storm, then don't miss what's coming next. Subscribe to the Void Narratives. 4 more tales where humanity doesn't just survive, we define the future.